Why Stoics reject toxic empathy disguised as support. There's a kind of empathy that looks like care on the surface, but beneath it, something feels off. It arrives in the form of agreement, shared outrage, or a shoulder to cry on that never stops weeping with you. It tells you what you want to hear. It amplifies your pain instead of helping you heal it. It keeps you comfortable, but never accountable. And the Stoics? They walk away from it. Because the truth is, not all empathy is created equal. Some of it is genuine, a powerful force that helps us connect, understand, and grow. But some of it is performative, enabling, or even manipulative. It disguises itself as compassion while keeping us stuck in emotional loops that sabotage our growth. Stoics have long known this. That's why they reject the kind of support that's rooted in co-suffering rather than clarity. They know that emotional honesty isn't always soft, and real support doesn't always feel good in the moment. But it sets you free. Let's explore why wise, grounded people don't fall for toxic empathy, and what they choose instead. There's a moment most of us have lived through. Something painful happens, and we reach out to someone we trust. We expect support. We expect understanding. But what we get instead is something else entirely, a flood of emotions that don't belong to us. Their panic becomes our panic. Their outrage makes us more outraged. Their sadness pulls us deeper into ours. And suddenly, we're not just hurting, we're drowning. This is what toxic empathy does. It mirrors your pain without anchoring it. It joins your suffering without offering a path forward. It gives the illusion of connection, but leaves both people weaker. That's why Stoics are careful about who they open up to, and what kind of energy they allow into their emotional world. To them, empathy is only meaningful if it leads to strength, not collapse. They believe that emotions should be honored, but not worshipped. That pain should be acknowledged, but not used as identity. And that support, at its core, must include truth, not just validation. Toxic empathy often comes with good intentions. A friend wants to be there for you, so they say what you want to hear. You were totally right. I can't believe they did that to you. You don't deserve this. On the surface, these words feel comforting. They affirm your hurt. But beneath that, something dangerous is happening. Your emotions are being fed, not questioned. And if those emotions are distorted, triggered, or rooted in fear, the empathy only deepens the distortion. Stoics refuse to participate in that cycle. They don't see love as blind agreement. They see it as clear-eyed support. That means sometimes saying, "I hear you, but let's look at this with reason." Or, "I get that you're angry, but is this anger helping you?" Or even, "You've been here before. What can you do differently this time?" To the untrained eye, this may look cold, but it's actually a form of radical care. Because it asks, "How can I help you grow?" instead of just helping you stay comfortable. Toxic empathy avoids discomfort. Stoic empathy embraces it, for the sake of transformation. Another reason Stoics reject toxic empathy is because they understand the importance of emotional sovereignty. When you allow someone else's emotions to dictate your inner world, you give away your power. And when you constantly absorb others' emotions, under the guise of being supportive, you lose your clarity. This is especially common in relationships. One person feels anxious, so the other becomes anxious too. One spirals, and the other spirals with them. Before long, both are caught in a whirlpool of reaction. No one is leading. No one is thinking. Everyone is just feeling. The Stoic approach is different. It says, I will feel with you. But I will not fall with you. I will sit beside you in your grief. But I will not drown in it. I will acknowledge your pain. But I will not use it to justify unhealthy patterns. This isn't detachment. It's discipline. Emotional discipline. And in a world where emotional chaos is often mistaken for depth, that kind of self-control looks almost inhuman. But in truth, it's the foundation of real connection. Because you can't truly support someone if you're collapsing beside them. You can only lift someone up if your own feet are on solid ground. There's another layer to this. Toxic empathy can sometimes be a form of control. It sounds counterintuitive, but empathy can be used to manipulate, especially when it's laced with guilt, obligation, or performance. You're not being supportive enough. If you really cared, you'd feel this with me. You should be just as upset as I am. These are the phrases of emotional entanglement, not empowerment. Stoics are wary of this. They don't let guilt be the price of loyalty. They know that emotional intensity does not equal moral righteousness. And they understand that being calm in a storm doesn't make you uncaring, it makes you effective. They also know that when people are in pain, they don't always need someone to mirror it. Sometimes they need someone to interrupt it, with clarity, with wisdom, or simply with presence. That interruption might not feel like support in the moment. It might even trigger anger. But later, when the emotion has passed, it's often that person who was most grounded that you're most grateful for. The one who didn't get pulled in. The one who didn't fuel the fire. The one who gave you space to feel, but also a path to rise. Stoicism teaches us that we are not our emotions. We are the observer of them. And when someone else's empathy pulls us deeper into our emotional state, it robs us of that perspective. It says, yes, stay here, feel more, sink further. But real growth happens when we rise above the feeling, not ignore it. Not suppress it, but transcend it. That's the difference. Toxic empathy joins you in the quicksand. Stoic empathy throws you a rope. It doesn't minimize your pain. It just refuses to worship it. It reminds you that you're capable. That you're not defined by this moment. That while your emotions are valid, they are not the whole truth. And that's what makes it powerful. In today's culture, empathy has become a buzzword. We glorify it, we demand it, and while compassion is essential to human connection, it's incomplete without wisdom. Compassion without boundaries becomes burnout. Empathy without clarity becomes enmeshment. Support without truth becomes sabotage. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. That's why they taught not just the management of emotion, but the management of influence. They were careful with what they allowed into their minds and hearts. Not because they were cold, but because they were protective of their peace. And they knew that if you want to help others, you have to first master yourself. In modern terms, that means learning to say, I'm here for you, but I won't feed the story that's hurting you. I see your pain, but I'll remind you of your power. I care, but I won't join you in self-destruction. That kind of support is rare. But it's real, and it changes lives. So the next time you're faced with someone's pain, ask yourself, am I helping them feel seen, or keeping them stuck? Am I supporting their healing, or enabling their story? Am I holding space, or handing over my peace? And if you're the one in pain, ask this. Do I want comfort, or do I want truth? Do I want someone to agree with me, or someone to help me grow? Because that choice matters. In a world that confuses emotional echo chambers with real support, the Stoic way may seem harsh. But it's the way forward. Not away from empathy, but toward a version of it that's anchored in truth, wisdom, and strength. Toxic empathy tells you, stay where you are. You're not alone. Stoic empathy whispers, you're not alone, but you don't have to stay here. And that, perhaps, is the most loving thing anyone can say.